She discovers an incredible truth: the wrong millionaire's mother wants her as a daughter-in-law. Jessica poured another cup of coffee for the elderly couple at table 7, her mind a whirl of thoughts as it drifted back to Lily. She could already picture her daughter, wide-eyed and bouncing, sharing stories of fairy tales and adventures that filled their small apartment. It was another busy summer morning at the diner, the clatter of plates and the buzz of laughter surrounding her as she balanced orders. Life wasn't easy, but each kind interaction fueled her fire. This was the American dream, wasn't it? Hard work, sweat, and a deep love for family. As the door swung open, a rush of hot air accompanied a stranger dressed in crisp designer jeans and stylish shoes, his aura commanding immediate attention. David, a millionaire with charm, was searching for something more than breakfast. His smile lit up the room as he approached the counter. He was captivating, but Jessica only had eyes for her little girl waiting at home. Moments later, an unexpected collision occurred. David's mother, Evelyn, a vision of elegance, was seated at the counter, indulging in a café latte. Their eyes met, and in a flurry of compliments and genteel banter, Evelyn mistakenly perceived Jessica's warmth and poise as the mark of high society. Little did she know, the waitress she admired so much was merely a single mother trying to make ends meet. "Jessica, dear, do you live around here? You simply must join us for dinner sometime." Evelyn smiled, her voice bright and hopeful. Jessica froze, unsure of what to say. Before she could respond, Evelyn continued, painting a picture of a future she never dreamed of, one filled with glamour. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Days turned into weeks, and Jessica found herself swept away in Evelyn's plans. Suddenly, she was dining in grand establishments, donning shimmering gowns, and attending galas filled with laughter and soft music. With every twirl of her dress, old insecurities crept up, gnawing at her heart. Did these people see her for who she was? Or did they merely gaze at the shiny surface? At the charity gala, tension pulsated through the elegant ballroom. The weight of expectations loomed heavy. When a rocket of misunderstandings exploded, Jessica realized that Evelyn had been seeking a vision of perfection. Torn inside, she faced the shimmering crowd, recognizing the truth of her roots. Who was she really? And did she want to leave behind the simple joys of her humble life for this new illusion? Jessica's heartbeat echoed through her chest, and with her little girl's laughter fresh in her mind, she stood at a crossroads. This was about more than wealth, it was about what truly mattered to her. Was she ready to confront her own truths? Secrets were unraveling, and choices mounted like the stacked plates she had so often balanced. The answer rested within her as the lights flickered and the air thickened with hope. Doubt clouded Jessica's mind as she stepped back from the glittering noise of the gala. The room pulsed with laughter and chatter, but it felt hollow to her now. She clutched the hem of her gown, the fabric suddenly feeling foreign against her skin. Had she traded authenticity for sparkles? Evelyn, blissfully unaware of Jessica's inner turmoil, floated about like a graceful swan, greeting guests with warmth and ease. It was mesmerizing, yet unsettling. Jessica watched the scene unfold, feeling increasingly like an outsider in a world made of glass, beautiful and fragile. "Jessica, darling. Come meet some friends," Evelyn called, her voice threading through the crowd. With a resigned sigh, Jessica moved forward, plastering a smile on her face, even as her heart felt heavy. She was good at pretending, a skill she'd honed over years of waiting tables and managing life's disappointments. But just as she reached Evelyn, she noticed David on the other side of the ballroom. He was deep in conversation, his charm lighting up the room even more than before, but an undercurrent of concern etched across his brow. The sight of him stirred something inside Jessica, a flicker of hope or perhaps confusion. Did he truly want her to be a part of this world? The one she was grappling to fit into? Isn't it splendid? Evelyn chimed, pulling her into a whirlwind conversation about donations and community outreach. Jessica nodded, her heart lost in thoughts of Lily, working on a school project back at home. She imagined her daughter's small hands diligently crafting a poster adorned with bright colors and sparkly stars. A wave of longing washed over Jessica. The laughter of the gala faded, dimmed by the tug of love and reality pulling her back home. As they mingled, whispers of admiration and envy filled the air. "That's David's new friend," echoed among other guests, tinged with curiosity. Jessica felt herself slipping deeper into a rabbit hole of insecurity. What did they see in her? Could they sense the frayed edges of her dreams? Breaking free from the group, she stepped outside, where the cool night air kissed her flushed cheeks. In the silence, she could finally breathe. Stars dotted the sky, twinkling with a reminder of dreams long buried. She was a mother, a fighter, and yet here she was, overwhelmed by a life carefully crafted from tales and diamonds. Just then, she heard footsteps approaching. It was David, concern clear in his eyes. "You okay?" "You look lost," he said, his voice soft yet probing. Jessica met his gaze, feeling the weight of unspoken words hanging between them. "I don't know if I belong here," she finally admitted. David's expression softened. "It's easy to feel that way. But you have something that shines brighter than any of this." His words struck a chord, resonating deep within her. But just as doubt crept in again, Evelyn called out from the entrance, her voice echoing through the night. "Jessica. We're going to start the speeches." Torn between two worlds, Jessica felt a clash of identities warring within her. As she looked back at David, she wondered, was she ignoring who she really was in pursuit of acceptance? Just then, a car pulled up, shining headlights cutting through the shadows. Moments later, Jessica realized the car wasn't just a new arrival, it was David's family vehicle. "They're here?" She breathed, nerves flooding her as a wave of uncertainty washed over her. The evening was about to take a turn, and she wasn't sure if she was ready to confront whatever awaited her. What was she going to say to them? And perhaps more importantly, would she still be able to hold her ground when her past collided with this seemingly perfect new world? The energy shifted as the car door swung open, and out stepped David's mother, poised and elegant, her heels clicking sharply against the pavement. Jessica felt her heart race. This was the moment she had dreaded, the moment when her two worlds would inevitably clash. "Is that?" Jessica whispered, half to herself, half to David. "Yeah," he replied, his tone laced with apprehension. "Just, take a deep breath." The beauty of the gala looked so different from the warmth and messy reality of her life back home, and now she stood at the crossroads of both, feeling utterly exposed. David's family was bound to have expectations that felt impossible for her to meet. "Jessica." Evelyn's bright voice called out again, navigating her way toward David's mother. "You simply must meet her." With each confident step Evelyn took, Jessica felt her own feet planted in concrete. She could see the curiosity painted on the guests' faces as they watched the impending meeting unfold. Would they recognize her? Would they judge? "Mom," David said, rolling his shoulders back in a subtle show of support. "This is Jessica. I'd love you to meet her." Just as David's mother turned her piercing blue eyes towards Jessica, a stirring in the pit of Jessica's stomach took over. Finding the strength, Jessica offered a tentative smile, but she could feel the weight of her insecurities creeping in again. "Jessica, how lovely to finally meet you," his mother exclaimed, her smile wide but her gaze assessing. "David has told me so much about you." Jessica barely managed to breathe through the rush of emotions. She wanted to believe that David's mother would see her for who she was, not just a waitress or a single mother, but a person with dreams and aspirations. Yet as the tension hung thick in the air, that hope felt like a mere wisp, ready to disappear. "How do you enjoy the gala so far?" his mother asked, her tone cordial yet precise, as if each word was carefully selected from a handbook of etiquette. "It's beautiful," Jessica replied, her voice barely rising above a whisper. "The decorations are stunning." David's mother nodded, clearly waiting for more, and Jessica's palms began to sweat. She stumbled on her words, feeling lost in a conversation that felt like a tightly knit tapestry she simply couldn't unravel. "Jessica lives with her daughter, Lily," David said, trying to steer the conversation away from the suffocating lightness of social pleasantries. His tone shifted to one of pride, and Jessica felt a flicker of gratitude as he included her daughter in his introduction. "How wonderful! A young girl must brighten your days," his mother responded, her expression softening for a brief moment. But in a flash, it was back to business. "I hope she's adjusting well to the changes." The question hung in the air like a weight. Jessica felt the heat tickle the back of her neck. Change. It was her reality. She recalled every struggle, each triumph, and the fears that would keep her up at night. Just as she was about to respond, Evelyn interjected, "Why don't we all move inside? The speeches will begin, and I don't want you to miss a moment of it." Relief mingled with anxiety as David took her arm, subtly guiding her toward the entrance. Inside, the music swelled, pulling them back into the less authentic atmosphere. But Jessica caught David's eye, and for just a moment, she felt the weight of things shift between them, a shared understanding. As they stepped back into the gala's shimmering ambience, a thought crossed Jessica's mind: what if this night wasn't just to confront her fears, but a stepping stone to something greater? The speeches began, effortless chatter echoing around the room, but the weight of her earlier concerns paled in comparison to a now surging curiosity about David's mother and what their unexpected encounter might mean for her future. In the midst of applause and laughter, would Jessica find the courage to uncover more than she ever intended to reveal tonight? With every word spoken, the night held promises, the kind that either lifted her spirits or shattered her dreams altogether. Jessica's heart raced again, and an undeniable question emerged. What else had David not told her? As the speeches unfolded, Jessica found herself entranced by the well-crafted words swirling around the room. The speeches were designed to inspire and connect, yet Jessica felt distant, as if she was watching a world she couldn't quite grasp. The laughter of the guests bobbed like balloons above her, floating beyond reach. She tightened her grip on David's arm, feeling his warmth grounding her in the chaos. Evelyn's voice bubbled with enthusiasm as she applauded the speaker, and Jessica couldn't help but feel a pang of longing. She wished to feel that same lightness, that sense of belonging. But instead, she was stuck in this strange limbo, teetering between her past life and the polished reality of David's family. "I know this isn't easy for you," David whispered, leaning closer to her ear. "But just be yourself. You're incredible, and everyone will see that." His words wrapped around her like a warm blanket, igniting a flicker of hope. With a renewed sense of determination, she let herself breathe deeply, absorbing the ambience of the gala. The chandeliers glimmered like stars, illuminating the spaces between guests as they mingled and connected. As the speeches continued, a cordial air of formality shifted. David's mother spoke quietly with a group nearby, her presence important but still intimidating. Jessica's heart jumped when she caught snippets of conversation. The other women were discussing matrimony and family expectations. Who will David choose? One woman mused, eyes shining with mischief. His relationship decisions are always interesting, particularly with the ladies he brings home. There it was again, the invisible pressure that weighed down on them. The looming questions about their future, the shadows of expectations, and the haunting prospect of never being enough. Could David's family see her as part of that world? Or was she merely a passing phase in their son's life? The applause rang through her thoughts like a sudden clap of thunder, breaking her reverie. She felt David's hand squeeze hers gently, reminding her that they were in this together. The crowd began to settle, the atmosphere shifting to one filled with anticipation. "Ready?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper, though it held a sense of urgency. But before Jessica could respond, a familiar figure approached from across the room. It was David's mother, her blue eyes glinting with intensity. Jessica's stomach dropped at the sight. What was she about to say? "Jessica," Evelyn called out, motioning, "you should join us for the toast. It'll be fun." The impromptu invitation threw Jessica into a whirlwind, balancing both opportunities. On one side stood the chance to break into David's world, and on the other, the threat of revealing just how fragile her confidence felt at that moment. As they moved closer to the group, Jessica felt something shift inside her, a determination brewed, one that wanted to confront her fears head-on. Despite the knots in her stomach, she felt emboldened, as if she were standing atop a precipice, waiting for the right moment to leap. As they approached David's mother and her friends, Evelyn pulled Jessica forward. Suddenly, all eyes were on her, their expressions a mix of curiosity and skepticism. "Jessica, why don't you share a little about yourself?" Evelyn encouraged. "David's told us you have quite the story." Jessica's heart raced. There it was, the moment that could change everything. Did she dare to step into the light? With all eyes on her, she took a deep breath. "Well, I'm a single mom, and my daughter is my whole world." The silence that followed felt loaded. Jessica could see David's mother assessing her, weighing her words like gold against a scale. Then, unexpectedly, the silence broke, and the atmosphere shifted. "Being a mother is the most important job there is," David's mother said, her tone surprisingly warm. "I admire your courage and dedication." A ripple of surprise spread through the crowd. But just as hope began to creep in, David's mother continued, "But you know, David has some very particular expectations when it comes to who he chooses to spend his life with." The room seemed to hold its breath again, and Jessica felt her pulse quicken. She could feel the weight of the words heavy against her, but what was it that lay beneath those expectations? What did David truly want? With a newfound fire igniting within her, Jessica stood taller. "I appreciate your concern, but I believe love isn't about meeting expectations. It's about connecting genuinely." The gasps and murmurs that followed were like fuel to her fire, igniting every ounce of her resolve. Would this gamble pay off? But before she could grasp the answer, a voice echoed across the room, one that would set everything into a chaotic spiral she couldn't have anticipated. "What do you mean by that? You don't even know the real truth about my son." Jessica turned to face the newcomer, and her heart dropped. The stakes were rising rapidly, and secrets hung tantalizingly close on the brink of being uncovered. Would she face the truth now or run away from the possibilities? The room fell into a hush, every eye darting between Jessica and the newcomer. The air thickened with anticipation, the tension so palpable it felt like a heavy weight pressing down on her shoulders. Who was this person, and what did they know? "Who are you?" Jessica managed to ask, her heart racing. The voice belonged to a woman who appeared to be in her early 40s, dressed impeccably, her expression a mixture of disdain and curiosity. She was far from ordinary, emanating an aura of control and authority. "I'm Rebecca," she said, stepping into the spotlight with a confident smile that didn't quite meet her eyes. "And clearly, there's a lot you don't know about David." Jessica swallowed hard. This was David's ex-girlfriend, the one he had mentioned only in passing, shrouded in mystery and air of unresolved history. The group parted slightly, creating a buffer zone between Rebecca and the others. "I was wondering if you'd show up," Rebecca continued, tilting her head with an all-too-sweet smile. "I was curious who David would choose to bring home next." David's grip on Jessica's hand tightened. "Rebecca, this isn't the place he started," but Rebecca waved him off. "Oh, let her speak. She's already made quite an entrance." Rebecca's gaze refocused on Jessica, her tone dripping with mockery. "You really think you know what you're getting into with him? This life isn't just a fairy tale, sweetheart. Jessica's heart pounded, not just from fear, but from a surge of defiance. I'm here because I care about David, she said, keeping her voice steady despite the quiver of uncertainty. Rebecca's laugh echoed through the hall, cutting through the growing murmurs. Do you? Have you even considered how that family is? Belonging doesn't come easily. You'll find out soon enough if you stick around. The crowd was entranced, each whisper and questioning glance almost like a spectator sport. Jessica felt each moment stretching, a painful reminder of the stakes at play. What do you know about who David really is? Jessica challenged, feeling the embers of her courage flicker with urgency. Because I want to believe that love is more than expectations. It's about being real. Rebecca took a step closer, her voice low and intense. Oh darling, love doesn't exist in a vacuum. David is a good guy, but he has obligations, people counting on him. You'll find that out soon enough. You may even find yourself drowning in it. Then let me drown, Jessica shot back, anger sparking her confidence. I'd rather take that chance than pretend to fit in. The audience gasped again, their reactions reverberating through the hall. David squeezed her hand harder, his brows knit together in concern and surprise. Jessica could feel the electricity in the air, but more importantly, she could feel David's pride radiating beside her. Rebecca looked surprised, momentarily caught off guard. But she quickly recovered and gave a sardonic smile. Good luck, Jessica. You'll need it. When Rebecca turned sharply, the atmosphere shifted again. But as she moved away, Jessica couldn't shake the feeling that her proclamation had lit a fire. What was all that about? David asked, worry painted across his features. I don't know, Jessica replied, shaking her head as uncertainty danced in her mind. But it felt important. Like letting her know I wasn't backing down. Evelyn had moved closer, her eyes filled with a mix of concern and interest. I didn't expect that, Jessica. Not many would stand tall against Rebecca like that, she said softly but with admiration, but just as relief washed over Jessica, out of the corner of her eye, she caught a glimpse of Rebecca talking urgently to another man across the room. His expression remained inscrutable, yet there was something unmistakable in their interaction that sent a chill down her spine. What is going on? David asked, noticing her sudden change in demeanor. I don't know, she admitted, the unease settling in. But I feel like there's more. Like I've just scratched the surface. A sense of urgency hung in the air as tension began to bubble again. Something was brewing, and Jessica sensed she was on the brink of discovering a truth that could redefine her entire relationship with David and possibly unravel it. Do you think? She hesitated, biting her lip. What if there's a bigger secret about all this? David's expression turned serious. We need to figure this out, together. As whispers flickered around them like shadows, a sense of determination filled Jessica. She wouldn't shy away. Not now. Not ever. But the question lingered: how deep did the secrets run? And would the truth bring them closer or drive them apart? Jessica's heart raced in her chest, each beat fueling the fire of determination within her. The moment Rebecca had exited the spotlight, the rush of whispers seemed to morph into a wild storm of rumors and innuendos. Wrapping her fingers tighter around David's, she felt the warmth of him beside her, a lifeline in the chaotic sea swirling around them. What do you think she meant? David asked, his voice barely above a whisper, brows furrowed with concern. I think she knows something we don't, Jessica replied, her gut churning. And it feels like it's important. More than just her past with you. Evelyn stood by, her anxiety palpable. Rebecca has a way of twisting things. I wouldn't take her words at face value, she advised, glancing around to gauge the reactions of others in the room. But we should dig deeper. If there's something about David's family, we can't ignore it. Feeling the weight of their gazes, Jessica nudged David gently, urging him to follow her lead. Let us find somewhere more private, she suggested. We can't talk like this. David nodded, his face a mix of irritation and intrigue. As they navigated through the crowd, Jessica could feel more eyes on them. Some looked in awe, others, judgment. But one lingering feeling pierced through the haze of doubt: she belonged here, with David, despite all the uncertainty that lingered like a shadow. Once they found a quiet corner away from the prying eyes, Jessica spun to face him. "What do you really know about your family, David?" she asked, her voice steady, but the tremor within her made her feel unnervingly exposed. "And what did Rebecca mean by obligations?" David hesitated, his vulnerability pouring through those few seconds of silence. "My family has always had expectations," he began. "I thought it was a normal thing, keeping up a certain image, but maybe it's more than that. I've always tried to be the guy they want me to be. Maybe I don't even know who I am without it." A flash of compassion swept through Jessica. She reached for his hand, feeling the weight of his struggles in her own heart. "You're not just their expectations. You're you. And I want to understand." He sighed, looking torn. "I just want to protect you from this," he said, glancing back towards the shimmering crowd. "There's a lot of pressure." "Maybe what Rebecca said makes sense." Before he could finish, Evelyn's voice cut through, urgent and sharp. "You both really need to hear this." She looked around, ensuring no one was eavesdropping. "Rebecca is more than just an ex. She is tied to this family in ways you both might not realize." "What do you mean?" Jessica prodded, her heart racing anew. "David's family, they're involved in things that go beyond normal expectations," Evelyn explained, her face pale. "I've heard things about deals made, connections to other families. If Rebecca's back in the picture, she could be pushing for something much bigger than we can imagine." Jessica's mind raced. Each word felt like pieces of a puzzle slowly coming together, revealing a larger picture she desperately wanted to understand. "Why did David never mention this?" she murmured, searching his eyes. "The truth is I didn't want to put that burden on you." David lowered his gaze. "But I won't lie to you now." Evelyn's phone buzzed suddenly, jolting them. She examined the screen, her expression shifting from puzzled to alarmed. "It's Rebecca. She's trying to contact my brother. We need to figure this out fast. If she knows something about you, Jessica, it could change everything." Jessica felt her breath hitch, her eyes darting between David and Evelyn. The whirlwind of emotions inside her intensified. What did Rebecca want? Can we trust Evelyn's brother? Will he help us? Jessica asked, the urgency in her voice echoing the storm brewing within her. David took a step closer, his resolve hardening. "We have to try. Whatever secrets we uncover, we'll face them, together." With their fates intertwined, Jessica felt the weight of their shared journey. They might not have all the answers, but they weren't turning back now. The stakes were higher than she had imagined, and she could feel the tides shifting. As they stepped back into the party, ready to uncover the truth, an unmistakable chill ran through her. They were on the edge of something monumental. Whether a new beginning or a devastating end remained to be seen. But the question lingered in the air like a storm cloud: could love truly survive when wrapped in layers of deception? Jessica stepped back into the party, her heart pounding like a drum. The vibrant lights and laughter surrounded her, but all she could feel was the cool rush of uncertainty swirling in her stomach. David stood beside her, his presence like a warm blanket against the icy fear creeping into her thoughts. "Where do we start?" he asked, looking around, searching for answers in the sea of familiar faces. Evelyn, still tense, pulled out her phone, her fingers dancing over the screen. "Let us see if my brother knows where Rebecca is. He might be able to give us some insight." "Insight or a warning?" Jessica murmured, glancing at David. His expression was a mix of worry and determination. She could sense the storm brewing inside him, and it made her want to hold on tighter. Moments later, Evelyn's brow furrowed as she talked into her phone. I just need you to listen. Yes, Rebecca's back. No, she's not here, but we're concerned. You have to find out what she wants and fast. David and Jessica exchanged uneasy glances. They both felt the weight of fate resting on Evelyn's shoulders, and for a brief moment, they shared a silent understanding it was going to get worse before it got better. Evelyn hung up, her brows still knitted together. He's on it, but it'll take time. We need to keep our guard up. For now, perhaps we should gather more information. If Rebecca's manipulating David's family, we can't just sit and wait. The urgency in her voice pushed Jessica into action. Okay, then we split up. David, you can check with some of your family members. Maybe there's something they haven't told you. I'll stay with Evelyn and see if we can find out more about what's going on behind the scenes. David nodded. Be careful, please, he said, concern shining through his voice. As David vanished into the crowd, Jessica felt a pang of anxiety. She turned to Evelyn, who was already scanning the room with sharp eyes. What's our play? We find out just how deep this rabbit hole goes, Evelyn replied. Rebecca might think she's cunning, but we'll outsmart her. Let's start with the people closest to David's family. They're bound to know more. They moved through the throng of guests, spotting familiar faces. Jessica's pulse quickened each time she greeted someone, each smile hiding a potential clue. They approached a couple of David's relatives, hoping for casual conversation that might lead to critical information. What do you think about Rebecca's return? Evelyn asked, her tone light but purposeful. One family member shrugged, dismissing it. Oh, she's always been a drama queen. No one pays her much mind unless she writes a tell-all book or something. But who would care? Jessica felt a chill at the mention of a tell-all, her instinct screaming that Rebecca was capable of anything. So, nothing else to worry about? Jessica pressed, her voice steady despite the turmoil in her heart. Not really, the relative said, glancing away. But I did hear some loose talk about heritage. Something about connections and family ties that some don't want exposed. The words hit Jessica like a slap. Family ties? What do you mean? But the relative quickly waved it off, moving away from the conversation. Jessica felt her hopes deflating. What are we missing? She whispered, frustration bubbling on the surface. Evelyn eyed the crowd, and suddenly her expression changed, her eyes narrowing. That's it. The matriarch of David's family, his grandmother. She knows everything. If there's a secret, she's the one we have to talk to. Where is she? Jessica asked, her heart racing again. Evelyn pointed towards the far side of the room where an older lady stood, regal and poised amidst the chaos. We need to move fast. Let us go. As they approached David's grandmother, Jessica's stomach twisted with anticipation. Would this be the moment where they discovered the truth? Each step felt heavy with implications. They couldn't turn back now. What if this unraveling led to something bigger than either of them could handle? Just then, Jessica caught her breath. Something in the older woman's demeanor, the way she observed the crowd, suggested she was hiding her own secrets. What if she doesn't want us to know? Jessica whispered. Then we'll find a way to make her talk, Evelyn replied fiercely, but as they reached the elderly matriarch, David rejoined them, his face pale, as if he had seen a ghost. You need to hear this. I just found out something about Rebecca that could change everything. Jessica's heart raced, caught between fear and hope. What truth could David possibly unveil now? David's eyes darted back and forth between Jessica and Evelyn, the urgency radiating from him as he caught his breath. It's about her mother, he began, but his voice trembled slightly, betraying the fierceness of his convictions. Jessica's heart pounded louder. Her mother? What did you find out? Rebecca's been in contact with someone who has been feeding her information about our family, he said, voice low and steady as if trying to dismiss the gravity of his revelation. I can't believe I didn't see this before. My mother is not just upset about Rebecca being back, she is terrified of what Rebecca might expose. Evelyn leaned in closer, a wave of concern washing over her face. What does Rebecca know? David hesitated, clearly grappling with the potential fallout. She knows about the money and she might know more about our family's past than we do. Jessica felt the air grow thick around her. What do you mean money? The tremors of anxiety turned into dread as she swallowed hard, picturing how far Rebecca could go if she grasped that power. David scratched the back of his head, his nerves visibly gnawing at him. I overheard some relatives talking about a family trust. Apparently, there are secrets connected to it, issues that involve my grandparents that could damage our family's reputation. Evelyn's eyes widened. Is that why your grandparents have been so protective? They don't want the world to know? And Rebecca, she would use that to her advantage. David nodded, horror creeping into his expression. We have to speak with my grandmother now. She can help us understand what is at stake before Rebecca spins this into drama. Jessica placed a hand on David's arm. Okay, let us focus on getting the truth out of her. It's the only way we can control the situation. She exchanged a determined glance with Evelyn, who stared at David, fully invested in the urgency of their mission. As they made their way to the elderly matriarch, the atmosphere in the room shifted. The laughter and music felt distant, as if the world had dimmed around them, cloaked in uncertainty. What were they really walking into? Remember, David said, straightening his spine, we need to approach this delicately. My grandmother won't react well to any accusation, and we have to tread carefully. But Jessica couldn't shake the dread lingering in her chest. How fragile was the balance of their lives? What if Rebecca's return had the power to shake everything they knew? When they reached the grandmother, a deep, almost palpable silence enveloped them. She looked up, her silver hair glimmering under the party lights, but there was something else, an unspoken awareness in her eyes. David, she started, her voice soft but firm. You've come to talk about Rebecca, haven't you? The question hung in the air, heavy with meaning. The three of them took a collective breath, ready to confront what they feared could change everything. Then, unexpectedly, someone burst into the room, their presence commanding attention. Sorry to interrupt, the stranger said, flashing a devil-may-care smile that felt all too familiar, but I think we need to talk about Rebecca and her plans. Evelyn's grip tightened around Jessica's arm, and Jessica's heart sank. Who was this person? And could they hold a piece of the puzzle they desperately needed? With a fidget of uncertainty, Jessica glanced at David and Evelyn but found only confusion reflecting back at her. Would this stranger reveal an even deeper truth or lead them further down Rebecca's treacherous path? What were they about to uncover now? Jessica's breath hitched as the stranger leaned casually against the doorway, arms crossed. There was something unsettling about that confident smile, like they knew a secret that could unravel everything. Who are you? David challenged, stepping forward, but the stranger held up a hand, like a traffic cop pausing a busy intersection. Take it easy, the stranger said, their voice smooth, almost playful. You don't know me, but I know all about Rebecca. I'm here to help. Help? Jessica echoed, skepticism coating her words. The world felt shaky under her feet, and this unexpected visitor seemed to tip the balance further. Yes, the stranger replied, pushing off the doorframe and striding into the room. My name is Casey. I've been following Rebecca for a while now. Let us just say, I have a vested interest in her plans. And what exactly is that interest? Evelyn asked, her voice steady but her wide eyes betrayed her anxiety. Casey chuckled, as if reveling in the chaos swirling around. You could say I have a personal connection to the family, a distant relative, if you will. But more importantly, I don't trust Rebecca any more than you do. Jessica's mind raced. Could they really trust this person? Alternating feelings of curiosity and suspicion tangled in her gut. Why should we believe anything you say? David pressed, arms crossed defensively. Because while you're all worried about Rebecca blabbing family secrets, she's got her eyes set on something much bigger, Casey replied, leaning forward slightly and lowering their voice. There's more at stake here than a family trust. It's about power, and I know exactly what she wants from your grandmother. Tension rippled through the air, heavy as lead. Jessica glanced at David, whose expression mirrored her turmoil. Should they listen to this enigmatic figure or dismiss them as another complication? Talk, Jessica urged, desperation creeping into her tone. What does she want? Casey raised an eyebrow, a grin playing on their lips. Well, first off, she's after your grandmother's connections. But it's deeper than that. Rebecca plans to turn everything upside down. She's maneuvering to inherit far more than just a trust. The gravity of Casey's words rolled over them like a tide. An urge to flee this madness clawed at Jessica's chest, yet she stood rooted, hoping for clarity. Rebecca knows how to play the game, Casey continued. And she's got her sights set on power, not just for herself, but for anyone she can manipulate along the way. If your grandmother isn't careful, she could become just another pawn in Rebecca's chess match. David's shoulders tightened, the implication settling in like the weight of an anchor. What do we do? He asked, his voice a low murmur. Casey's expression hardened. You need to confront Rebecca directly. The longer you wait, the tighter she'll wrap her grip around your grandmother's influence. But, be wary of the traps she's laying. She has allies, people who won't hesitate to hurt you to protect her interests. Jessica felt her heart racing, the stakes climbing higher than she thought. What kind of allies? That's the million-dollar question, Casey quipped, smirking, but the humor faded from their eyes. It could be anyone linked to your family's business. Friends, relatives, even someone close to you. Dread wrapped around Jessica's heart like a vice. Could they really trust Casey? Or was this another rabbit hole leading them deeper into chaos? As the uncertainty settled thickly in the air, the door swung open unexpectedly, revealing Rebecca herself, a sly grin lighting up her face. I hear we're talking about me. In that instant, tension surged like a live wire, and Jessica's pulse quickened. The showdown they feared had arrived sooner than they ever imagined. Fighting back panic, she steadied herself, determined to uncover the layers of deception laid before them. What was Rebecca truly after, and what could they lose if they weren't careful? The tension in the room crackled as Rebecca's eyes darted between Jessica, David, and the stranger. How sweet of you to all gather here, she mocked, leaning casually against the doorframe, an air of superiority radiating from her. And here I thought I was the life of the party. Jessica's heart raced, her skin prickling with determination. This was a defining moment, a chance to confront the swirling chaos head-on. We know what you're up to, Rebecca, she declared, her voice steady despite the growing intensity. And we're not letting you manipulate anyone. Rebecca smirked, folding her arms. Oh really? What do you think you know? Perhaps I should just let you in on the family secrets while we're at it? David stepped forward, his expression fierce. You think you have the upper hand? This isn't just about you running wild with your schemes. Ah, my dear David, Rebecca purred, tilting her head, you were always a delightful pawn. But those days are over. Jessica felt the heat of David's hand slipping into hers. What do you mean over? Is that what you want? Just control? A flicker of irritation crossed Rebecca's face, but she recovered gracefully. Control? It's called strategy, darling. I intend to take everything your family stands for and turn it upside down. Silence followed as Casey shifted, leaning in with calculated poise. And how would you plan to do that? They interjected sharply. We're not intimidated by your theatrics, Rebecca. Good, because you're going to need every ounce of courage you can muster, she replied with a smirk, her confidence unshaken. But you all need to understand this isn't just about feelings. The stakes are much higher than you realize. The air thickened with unspoken threats. Jessica focused on her breathing, her heart pounding with resolve. And what makes you so sure it'll work? She countered, her voice unwavering. You may be clever, but you underestimate us. Do I? Or do I just know what you're all hiding? Rebecca shot back, her eyes narrowing. You think your little lies will shield you from the truth? Family secrets always come to light, just like the setting sun. It's only a matter of time. It's not just secrets, it's who we are, and we're ready to own that, David affirmed, stepping closer to Jessica, their hands like a beacon of solidarity. Whatever you think you can manipulate, you win this time. Brave words, Rebecca taunted, rolling her eyes. But Jessica noticed a flicker of uncertainty behind her confident facade. It's adorable that you think you can stand against me. Don't get too comfortable. Let us help your family, Casey added, their voice steady. You may find that keeping secrets only leads to your downfall, Rebecca. But open communication? That's a path forward. Help? Rebecca echoed, laughter lining her words. Now that's rich. Perhaps you should take a dose of your own medicine and understand the stakes involved. Jessica stepped forward, fire igniting within her heart. No more games, Rebecca. We will protect this family, and we'll protect David's grandmother. We'll show you that love and truth conquer all. Love? Rebecca scoffed. You think you know anything about love? Or what it takes to survive in this world? David squeezed Jessica's hand, emboldening her. It's not just about survival, it's about vulnerability, honesty. Then let us see how far those ideals take you, Rebecca shot back. I warned you, when it comes to family dynamics, if you're going to play the game, you better be prepared to take a hit. Before Jessica could respond, a voice cut through the tension like a knife. Enough. David's grandmother, her dignified grace commanding respect, had arrived with an air of authority. Everyone turned at once, her piercing gaze leveling the room. Rebecca, you will not disrupt my family any longer. The air shifted as tension subsided, filled with a sense of gravity. In an instant, the atmosphere changed, eyes darting between Rebecca and the grandmother. You need to leave, she commanded, her voice firm. But Rebecca protested, her bravado faltering. Now. The matriarch repeated, and in that moment, everyone felt the thrum of power emanating from her that silenced Rebecca. Slowly, realization dawned on everyone. The family bonds were tangible, even in moments of darkness, and those bestowing love could shine through. Defiance turned to retreat as Rebecca huffed, clearly rattled, and stepped back. You'll regret this. She hissed, before exiting with a slam that echoed through the room. Once Rebecca was gone, the tension eased, and all eyes turned to David's grandmother, her presence radiating strength. Thank you for standing by my family, for reminding us of what truly matters. Jessica felt overwhelmed, tears pricking her eyes as warmth pooled within her chest. She stepped forward, the gravity of it all settling heavy but liberating. We'll do what it takes to protect our family. David nodded, holding Jessica's gaze with pride gleaming in his eyes. Together, we'll navigate this. Always, she affirmed, her voice strong, feeling united in purpose. Evelyn stepped in, a smile breaking through her tension. It looks like the tides are shifting. Yes, David's grandmother replied, a serene smile crossing her lips. Love always finds a way. We will face whatever comes next as a family. Jessica's heart swelled, a beautiful tapestry of connection forming in that moment. She understood now that true strength lay not just in wealth or visibility, but in the love that connected their lives, binding them together with unbreakable threads. As the party began to resume around them, laughter and conversation floated back to the air, but for Jessica, it wasn't the glitz that sparkled anymore, it was the incandescent glow of family, acceptance, and courage redefining everything she once believed about herself. Stepping into the future, hand in hand with David, she felt an air of triumph and a joyful sense of belonging. They were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead together. This was their story, their shared fight for truth, freedom, and love. And as laughter echoed, Jessica realized she had found her place not just in a world of new glimmers, but in a space illuminated by the authenticity of who she was. If that wasn't the American dream, she didn't know what was. Now it's your turn. You need to subscribe now to catch the next journey filled with inspiring transformations. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to help feed the algorithm and let us know you want more. Comment below with your thoughts and feelings about this amazing ending. Was it everything you hoped for? And don't wait not even one more second to share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this incredible transformation. Your support makes all the difference.